Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So this video is going to be a gel press experiment, play and create video. I have no idea what we're going to end up with at the end, so let's just go ahead and get creating. Alright, so this is going to be a very experimental video. I have no idea what we're going to get out of this. We're going to be playing with my new toy. This is a gel press. I have had one session where I've had a go at this and I think I've got the basics down. But I want to sort of play a little bit more, see what else I can create, and I want to do that with you guys. So this is a gel press. I got this from Picture to Page. I think I got it from Little Bits, but don't quote me on that. I will link it down below though, because I have got it there. And what it is this, I'll take it out, it's plastic. It's a big jelly kind of thing. It looks like a big gelatinous pile of something. And what we do is you can put inks, you can put paints, I think you can put markers on this. I would just avoid Copics, anything alcohol I'd avoid. But you can put water on this, you can put acrylic paint on this. I think you can put oil-based paints on this maybe. Don't quote me on that one. But I'm gonna play with just just water stuff, because to me, water is safe and I can always clean it off. So we're going to be playing with inks mainly. So I am not an expert when it comes to gel press. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. This is just us playing and we'll see what we can create. Now I'm going to put mine on my Misty for two reasons. One, Jennifer Maguire does it, and anything Jennifer Maguire does I have to do. But I did find it was easier to have it this way so I can wiggle it around or pick it up and move it and manipulate it and do whatever I want to do. So to do gel press technique, you need three things. Four things. You need your gel press itself. You need some kind of ink, like we've been talking about. So distress ink, distress oxide, inks from, I think you can use like normal pigment inks or normal dye inks, all those sort of things. You need paper and you need a brayer. Now the brayer is to be able to move the ink. We're going to just call it ink, but you get what I mean when I say ink. To move it around the actual thing. And then you need paper. You can do this on any kind of paper you like. If you watch mixed media stuff, and I will link down below to a video that Michelle from Picture to Page did, and that was sort of my guiding video, and once I sort of saw her do it, I'm like, right, well, let's just get in and play and see what I can make. This is a plain A4 paper. It does have a slight coating on it. I will try and find the paper I used and link it down below. It's just from Officeworks. It is a slightly more expensive paper, but generally it's just paper. Other thing I have here is a bunch of stencils and stamps. We'll get to them eventually, but just for now, we're gonna start with the basics of gel press, and we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna play with some colours, and I've just got all my inks in front of me, as you guys know, and I'm just gonna grab them and drop them. And I'm just gonna sort of play with colour combinations that I like or that I want to experiment with. So I've got Lucky Clover. I'm gonna pick Seedless Preserves. Let's go for like a yellow. So let's go for Fossilized Amber. I have no idea if this colour combination is going to work. Now you know me, I'm not particularly panicky about my inks getting messy, so I'm happy to just use this straight to, and if it happens to pick up a little bit of the yellow or the green on all different things on there, that's fine with me. I don't mind. So then we'll come in with the purple. Don't have to cover every single inch of this because we will bring the brayer in a second. So see, that's got a bit of transfer on it. If I was really worried about that, I'd just rub that on some paper and it'll be fine. So then we get the brayer out and we're going to move the ink around. So I've got it leg side up and we're going to sort of push and it'll pick up a bunch of ink, that's fine, but then it will move it. So the idea is here we're trying to kind of blend them together, move them around, make it a bit flatter, and this will, depending on how you move it around the page, you'll also get sort of some bits. You'll see when I do this in a minute. Then what you need to do is you need to clean off your brayer, and this sheet here actually then becomes something cool. I love seeing what comes off. And my brayer's almost clean now, so I won't even clean it in between. You'll see when we get moving. So then we grab a piece of paper off the pile, straight down onto the top of the gel press. Simple as that. You will get inky fingers. If you're worried about getting inky fingers, I'd suggest wearing gloves, but we will get inky fingers during this. Give it a good rub. then we peel. Ooh! And this is the fun. I don't know what I'm going to create. I have no idea what's going to come up. I love that. That little corner looks really cool. If we get something that looks like absolute crap, that's fine, because I can probably play with it and do some things with it with some stencils in a little while. But the idea is here to just sort of experiment and see what we get. Now my plan here is to just sort of talk you through a bunch and we'll just see what we get. I'm not going to clean my press off in between. Some of these will be sort of a bit more like this, and I'll sort of wipe a bit more of it. See, it's going to pick stuff up, and that's fine. A bit more spread out, and then we'll come in with a little bit of fired brick. So that was Twisted Citron, Faded Jeans, and then this is fired brick. Gel press, sprayer. Don't always have to go in big lines, sometimes you just go in little lines. You're sort of always going to get an indication of what's coming by your little roll out. I just find this really fun. I find it really, therapeutic's not the right word, but I just love seeing what comes up because I have absolutely no control over this. I do want to try something else in a second though. So these all react with water, right? So I want to see what happens if I put water on the gel press before I pick this up. I just want to see what happens. Ooh, ooh, that's nice. Now I know you're probably looking at it going, Ashley, that looks weird. It does. I'm happy to say it looks weird. But we will find ways to use these afterwards. So I'm going to do a couple more. And let's do Victorian Velvet, White Persimmon, and tea dye. You can do, I'll do one in a minute that's a bit more what I'd call ombre. We'll do something that's a bit different. I'm just really chucking ink down anywhere for these first couple. Whoops. It's just fun to just move ink around and see what you get. You really don't need a lot on your page either, so don't worry if you get, I don't know if this one's going to work. Don't worry if you sort of feel like you've pulled up way too much when you've done the brayer. There's still plenty of ink on here. There you go. Next time I'm going to do some big bright bold colours, and I'll do them kind of in a different way, and we'll play with that water. Ooh, actually, that's not bad. And you see, that's the brayer marks where I've moved these around a little bit. They're very abstract, very abstract. Okay, so this one I'm going to grab Festive Berries, Mermaid Lagoon, and Cracks Pistachio. And I'll just show you this one. Now, in between, if you do feel like your press is getting a bit dirty, I just use just a dry, actually no I don't. I do, but that one's not working as well as it did before. A baby wipe will do the job. Or just a damp cloth, and that'll pick up anything that's still here if you do feel like it's getting a bit too dirty. I've only played with this once or twice, so I'm no expert at this. Don't expect me to know everything because I don't, and I'll mess this up a couple of times and it'll be fine. But it's playtime. Just a bit of playtime. Okay, so we're going to put cracked pistachio down the side. We'll put Festive Berries in the middle. And we'll put some of that Mermaid Lagoon on the edge. This time I'm going to do less rolling across and more just rolling up and down. So we're just kind of blending them together a little bit. We'll see what we get in a minute. I'm looking at this. And I'm going to put this on a different piece of paper because I think this looks really cool. Ooh. That's more the green and the purple. We've kind of lost some blue. I didn't use purple, did I? No, the blue and the reds made the purple. That looks cool. to do the water. I'll do another one in a second. Woo! So I should have moved that over a bit more so I got a bit more of the red into the blue. I'm going to do another one that's very similar to that one. So did I do blue on this? I think I did. No, it doesn't matter now. Put some blue over there. Now if anyone else does gel press and you want to give me some tips and advice on this, feel free, because I really don't know what I'm doing. I just like to play and just see. Just see. This one I'm just going to be a little bit more selective. I'm going to go up between those two and kind of blend them together. And then up between these two and blend them together. And then just kind of a very light pick up just on either side. So I've just moved some blue over to the green. There's a little bit extra kind of movement there. I'm just going to grab my water. Just give this a spritz. I have no idea what's going to happen. We'll find out. So the water hasn't made that much of a difference, but it's just got a couple of splodgy marks. Splodgy marks. I make up words. A couple of splodgy marks in there as well. Alright, we're going to do one more. And then we'll start working on ways to sort of ramp these up a bit, because the prints are great on their own, but you can add to them. So I'm going to put these ones away, and I'm going to pick out Salvage Patina, Kitsch Flamingo, and Scattered Straw. So we're going a bit lighter this time. Because we're going a bit lighter, I'm just going to go off on my brayer a little bit more, so I've made sure I've got off all that colour. And I think I liked the random kind of way I did it at the start, so I'm just going to do that again. So Flamingo, Patina, and a little bit of Scattered Straw. So just as a side, if that does happen to you and you don't like it and you want to pull it off, there you go. It's 90% off anyway. The colour's still coming up perfectly, so it's not a problem. It's just some people don't like to, what's the word? Stain. That's what I wanted. Their inks, whereas I don't mind so much. So I'm just going to move these around and get. Now you don't have to do these just in 3 colours. You could do it in a 4 colour, and a 3 colour, and a 2 colour. Ooh, check that out. Oh, I love this already. This would make a very pretty background for a card, I'm sure of it. Oh, that one's my favourite. I'm not even gonna pretend. All right, so there we've got a bunch of prints. I could sit here and do these for hours, but if I do that, it's going to be very boring. I do have a bunch from my last session, which I'll pull down and show you at the end, but I wanted to show you how we step this up. So we've now got a bunch of pages here that are just the way they are. We can change that. We can add things to them to kind of add a little bit more interest. So let's grab this one. So we're going to do this with stencils and with stamps. I've played with stencils and I've done some things with stencils. I haven't done them with stamps, so this is going to be interesting. So this first one, I haven't even used this stencil yet, you can tell. I'm trying to save the packaging because I like storing it in here, so I'm trying not to completely ruin it. So this is a hexagon stencil. I also got this from Picture to Page. It's a Nellie's stencil. I haven't heard of them before, but that doesn't mean anything. And it's this really cool hexagon. So what we're going to do is put just one colour down on here. So I used green, yellow and purple for that one. So let's add some blue, because it's just a little bit of blue popping up through here, I think. So I'm just going to put Blueprint Sketch just down all over this. Again, you can bring in another colour and do 2 colours if you wanted to, but I'm just going to stay with one for now. And we're just going to even that out. And we're going to put the stencil down on top of that. And And then when we put this page back down again and push through, we're going to get that hexagon kind of shape, the ink pushed through. So you'll see when we get there, giving it a good push so that I try and get as much ink through it as I possibly can. And then, what do we get? This is so much fun! Woo! Ooh! There we go. So you've got that busy kind of background there with the hexagons. They look more like spots than hexagons, I'll be honest, but they're there. Now don't think you're done, because you're not. Put that up and move the stencil to the side. You could use one of your other ones if you wanted to. I'm just going to do it on a plain piece because I can then do the same thing. I can put some more ink on here afterwards. Pull that all off. Woo! I'll find a way to play with that in a minute too. I have an idea. And then you can even get it off this one as well if you wanted to. So you flip that up so the ink side is there. I'm just going to grab this one, which has all the stuff from the first one. Yeah, it's very subtle, this last one, but that's okay. But that's got the hexagons there too. Just, this is the things you can do. The things you can do. So I'm going to have a bit of a play then with some stamps, some background stamps. So where did I had a baby wipe. So I'm just cleaning the ink off the stencil. Clean it off here too. And then clean it off the stencil again because I've made a mess. You will get messy. There's just nothing you can do about that. Just be happy to get messy. I want to play with this one. This is one of my bold prints cling stamps from Hero Arts. So I'm going to use this one. I'm a bit nervous, but I'm going to use this one and I'm going to bring in some wilted violet. Actually, wilted violet might be a little bit bright. I'm going to try dusty concord instead. Same thing we did with the blueprint sketch, just down all over the gel press. Even it out. Roll off the excess. And then I'm going to grab this stamp out and we're going to stamp down onto the gel press with the stamp. Now, I'm not worried about the fact that I haven't got a backing on it. I'm just going to give it a push. And then that will make an impression on the gel press. Not going to lose that because we still have a reason to use that in a minute as well. Haven't tried the stamps before. This is exciting. This is exciting. Ooh, look at that. And that's the perfect size. There will be some wastage here. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pretend that this is going to be completely perfect and completely not wasting some stuff, but I think this is really fun. And I'm just going to bring this in. Stamp it down here, and we even get a bit of an impression on that. This is where it's fun. You can build this up. You don't have to just do one layer. You don't have to do 50 layers. You can do as many layers as you're happy doing until you're happy with the result. See, I'm really happy with that blue one. Sorry, the purpley one with the pastel background. I think that looks really cool, so I'm going to leave that one alone. But we might play with some others. So I'm going to actually do, I really don't like this one. I don't think that's come out. Oh, that one's not as bad. It's not horrible, but there's something about it I don't particularly like. It doesn't matter what I do. I can do anything I like. I'm just going to pick, some brown. So I'm going to do ground espresso. Put that all down on here. Whoops. I don't really mind if some of the purple gets on here. I think it will just add to it. I'm grabbing my pinstripe stamp set. I'll grab these pinstripes. Let's just put that down. And again, I'm not using a backing for this. Probably should. So I'm just going to grab, I've got a big rectangle one. It's not actually big enough, but it'll at least hold this still. And let's see what happens on there. I don't think that one's worked particularly well. That might be a little bit too detailed for gel press, but we've given it a shot. But I am going to use, this is sort of going to be my, let's just randomly see what happens, sheet. Alright, what else did I bring out here? I've got a big pile of stencils. So this, oh, let's use this stencil. This spotty stencil is actually from Kmart. So definitely nothing fancy here. You don't need fancy bits and pieces. A Kmart stencil will work. And the good thing is, when you're using, no, I don't want white persimmon, I want carved pumpkin. When you're using oxides, because they are or they have pigment properties in them, the inks sit on top of each other. So if you do add this orange on top, you'd think it wouldn't necessarily show up with this kind of a background, but it really will, because it sits on top of the other ink. It doesn't blend into it. It doesn't seep into it. That actually looks a lot better than I thought it would. I like that one. I'm just going to play with the spots. I'm taking the stencil off, just flipping it over. I'm not pushing as hard that time. I want a light print. Ooh. See how that's now layered on top of? We're getting some interesting patterns happening. I'm going to grab this one. Just stick the stencil down on top. Like I said, you will get inky fingers. I'm just going to use the brayer to go over the top. And I don't mind that that's moving. I think that's actually going to add something. Ooh, messy. I love to watch. If you ever want something sort of really weird and random to watch, ooh, check out that. Watch mixed media artists go about their stuff. You look at it and it looks messy and it looks confusing, and then after a while it just starts to look like art. And that's where I feel like the gel press makes me feel like I'm creating art, where I don't usually feel like that. I feel like I'm just creating a scene or creating something else, but this feels more arty to me. And I am going to play with this with some paint as well. So if you guys like this video, please let me know, and then I can look at doing a paint one if you guys want to see that as well. Alright, I've got 2 more here, and then we're going to turn these into cards. So actually we'll use these 2. With this one, I'm going to add some really dark blue. So I'm going to bring Chip Sapphire in. I don't think this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a shot. So this is the reverse bubble stamp from Hero Up. I got it when I got my underwater set earlier this month. And so rather than having, where's my other one? Rather than having sort of more exposed stuff, it's actually more flat, and the bubbles will be reversed. So I'm hoping that makes sense when I show you. So if you have a look here, you'll see the bubbles, like there's more ink surface. I don't quite know if that's going to make sense, but we'll see. We'll just see. That's kind of just a very subtle ring design. And then for this last one, I'm going to pull this in and I'm going to use the brick stencil from Lawn Fawn. And I want to put, so it's got reds and purples, and so let's add a green. I'm going to do Lucky Clover. You don't have to always spread the ink out either. I'm kind of enjoying the fact just putting it down and seeing what happens. Woo! It's just so interesting. It's just so interesting. Even that sort of second generation isn't bad. I'll pull this up. Whoops, too late. Oopsies. Done that like 3 times now. I'm a bit too hard on the brayer. Need to be softer. You don't need to push hard. I'm learning that. I just feel like I do. My own stupidity. Ooh. Something cool even about that. Alright, I'm going to clean this up really quick. And then we're going to have a go. We're going to have a go at creating some card fronts. And I'm going to make these really simple. They're going to be a little bit like the stamped flowers we did a couple of weeks ago. They're going to be really simple, really quick, and therefore very easy to. Alright, so I have a bunch of just card fronts here. They're not a card base, but you can just put them straight onto. I have somehow cut them wrong, so some of these are a bit bigger than others. That's actually okay. I can just trim the card to be the same size, or I'll trim it down somewhat to sort of make something else. So this is where we're going to sort of have some fun. So I'm going to have a look at the backgrounds I got. I'll show you really quickly through them, but I'll also grab the ones I got the other day. So these are the ones we've made today. We've got this sort of brick one, got this brick one as well, got some bubbles, got the kind of mess one, which actually I kind of like the bubbles on the back. This mess one as well. I actually really like this one. I think this one might be my favourite. The one we did with the hexagons. We've got the orange bubbles over the top of the reds. I don't think that one worked particularly well, but it's there. That one might be my second favourite. And I was going to do something with that, but I kind of forgot. So we'll just have one sort of plain-ish kind of one. And then the ones that I did the other day, so these are again same paper, same ink, so I was just playing. So we've got this one. These ones, not all of them have double layers on them, some of them just are the singles. That was with purple and yellows. That one had cracked pistachio, kitsch flamingo, and then I think that squeezed lemonade in the middle. And that one was with one of the Kmart stencils. That one was with a lawn fawn stencil. That was the reverse of the Kmart stencil. That was a lawn fawn. That was just a background that didn't quite have anything else on it. That one didn't work. That was the reverse of the hearts. That was the reverse of the stars. That was this one's probably my favourite with those spots. I do really like those spots. I feel like the less intricate the better, but not always. So that's all we've got to play with. So what that's like I've been going for like half an hour here, so we've got some different things to play with. So I'm just going to grab my paper trimmer. Basically all I'm going to do here, I'm going to do this fast because I don't need to be sitting here for hours doing this part, is I'm just going to go through and cut these down to what I'm happy with. So there's going to be some wastage here. I'm not going to throw away the things off to the side yet because we may still use them. So leave this with me for a minute and I'll be right back, and then we'll start making some cards. Alrighty, so I didn't cut down all of them. I probably cut out probably half. But I did cut some sort of weird shaped ones because I want to see. So some of these are going to cover them like fully. Other ones aren't. And I haven't cut any of them straight. I just went nuts. So this is where we're going to have some fun. So I'm going to mark out just with a pencil. Just roughly where this needs to be cut to. Grab that paper trimmer back in again. You can have some fun with the paper trimmer. I won't do all of these on camera. I'll do a couple and then I'll do the rest and I'll come back and show you what I made using these, because I think that might be easier. So that'll cover my card front here, or cover most of it. It's actually going to be a little bit small, but that's alright. But I wasn't actually aiming for that. I want to play with some diagonals. So I'm going to cut from the top corner on this sort of angle. And I'm going to try and hold that angle and do something similar there, and then I'm going to stick this down sort of like that. I'm going to grab, this is actually some of the leftover from that exact same print, but it's got a little bit more blue on it. I'm just going to cut myself 2 little strips of it. Okay, they weren't That's fun. Grab myself some glue tape. We're going to have some fun sticking this down. So obviously you can use any kind of adhesive you're happy with. I prefer glue tape, it's just my preferred medium, but you can work with anything you like. I'm just lining this up on the edge. Okay. I'm going to grab this darker line. No, it's not going to work like I wanted it to. I wanted a darker something. Something that was a little bit, actually, this is where you grab your scrap paper. So this is just plain black paper here. Just plain black paper. I'm just going to cut a strip of this. I'm going to help myself out here and actually measure it. So I'm going to get rid of this bit. And then if we cut each strip to sort of the same width, at least I can work with it. I think that might be too wide, but I'll give it a shot. Too wide. So I didn't stick that down, like push that down really hard. I just pushed it down enough. So because this is one of the ones that has some give, this is the glue dots stuff. I can put that down and I can pull it back up again. Use my whiteboard pen here just to guide me as to where my angle needs to be. I suck at angles, I really do. I'm really bad at them, I can never get them right, which is why I tend not to do too much with angles, but let's just see what we get. Go, and we'll just cut off the excess there. Ooh. And then we'll get the other angled bit, if I can find where I put it in my gigantic big pile of paper that's here on my desk. There it is. I knew it was here somewhere. Do the same thing. This one's a bit easy because I can see sort of what the angle-ish needs to be. Pull that to there. Stick that down. Whoops, that was silly. Forgot to check where it was. It's alright, we've got give here. Just being gentle. This will get covered up with tape anyway, so it won't matter. Okay, let's try there. I'm going to pull that out one more time. Just come up just a little bit further, just a tinsy bit. I'll rub this off in a second. Actually, if I go straight from the edge down, this all comes off with my fingers. You just give it a rub the same way we do our glue dots. Absolutely fine. One of the reasons this one scored so highly because it was just so easy to use. Stick this one down too. Stick on the edge. I actually don't mind if these are not quite the same amount of matting. I think it will look cool that they're not. This one's just going to have a really thin stripe. Ooh. I don't know why, that looks really cool. Then, so I'll just trim this off. What I said before was that we just add some easy sentiments to this. We'll just add a sentiment strip now. That hasn't stuck down very well on the bottom. So, I have a bunch here that I have in black. So we can add a bunch of things, or add things here. I also have some circle ones that I cut out. These are uniquely creative cut aparts. They are so fantastic. But then I've also got a bunch of sentiments that I can just pop out with my sentiment sets as well. But I'm going to try and use what I've got here. Actually, I'm leaning towards using the circle just because it's such a completely different look than the linears. So let's use this one. Let's use this one with the thank you very much. And just put it up on a little bit of foam tape. Just a little bit of foam tape. I like to make mine solid. It's just a me thing. I like them to be a little bit less that you can bend them in the post because I don't like when things get there and they're broken or bent. Go. Now, is that the best card I've ever made? No, it's not. But I really like it. It's something different. It's something that I don't normally do. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make maybe 4 or 5 of these. Just see what I can come up with. And I'll be back and I'll show you all of them. Alright, so it's been about an hour and I've made a mess. But that's okay. I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 card fronts. So we'll start off obviously with the one I began with. I really like this one. This one was just using the die cut and some paper. I have got a bit of glue there, so it's a little bit of a mark, but generally speaking, I actually think that's really cool. And I would be very happy to send that to someone. This is when I then fell into a die cut hole, because if there's one thing I have in this room that I don't use as often as I should, it's die cuts, and I have piles and piles and piles of them. So I went a bit crazy. So this one was using the Uniquely Creative die cut. This is just a cut apart one. And that was just a die cut out of an old reject shop one, I think. Just out of my pile. I don't love that one, I'm happy to admit it. I don't like the sequins. I think that's the part that annoys me. I'm still learning how to use sequins and glue dots, and not glue dots, Nuvo drops and stuff like that, but I'm getting there. But that's not a bad one. This one was using that reverse bubble one, and then using some of the amethyst collection from Kaisercraft. You'll see that one pop up a few times here. Just a little square card with some flowers in the corner. I like that one. I think that one's really cute. This one actually surprised me. I didn't think I'd like this at all. This is actually from the mess of the rollers, and then we put the orange over the top. I love that there's white on the background and that you can kind of see something popping out there. Easy sentiment, easy die cut, popped up on some foam tape, easy as. Really like that one actually. These ones all don't have backs on them yet. I'll mat them, put them on a card base a little bit later on. I will use them all though. They'll all go in my stash. Like, my stash is now completely stocked. This one was just a really cool, simple one. Again with die cuts from the Reject Shop collection that was just there. I like the colours actually match. You can actually find all those colours in here. Even the pink and the purple, you can the pink and the even darker pink, you can find them somewhere. And I think that's really cool. I used the same piece of paper for that one that I did for this one, just to show you that two can be so different. I just cut a little bit less of it, put that really simple one in the middle, butterfly, thinking of you, done. This one's actually one that I just was having some fun because I felt like it. Covered the whole thing with glue tape and then just cut bits off, stuck them down, cut the excess off, and then it just happened to fit. That's not straight and that's bugging me, but I can deal with it. This one actually ended up being my favourite. So it was that really pale pastel one we did. I'm just looking at it going, are you square? Yeah, it is. It's alright. It's just me looking funny. And that was another one of it was something out of the Amethyst collection. I just cut up a piece of paper and then it's got a die cut sentiment. Really simple. None of them are really complicated. It took me a while, but more because there were so many of them and I kind of had to think of something to do for each of them. If you wanted to do the same design for every single one and just go bang, 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 you could so do that. And I've still got plenty of backgrounds here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort these into their colour families. So I'm going to look at one and go, okay, when I look at that, what colour do I see? I say red. I know it's got blue and brown and stuff in it, but I see red. And so I'm going to put that into a red pile, and then that's going to then be the next time I need a red piece of paper, I'm going to go and look there. Or I could use it, I didn't use this one and I meant to. It's so pretty. I still have so many other little bits and pieces. I kept all the stripy bits. I kept some of these bits. Just, who knows? I could create random things. But there's no rhyme or reason to this creating. This kind of creating isn't I need a birthday card, I'm going to make this because I know exactly how it's going to turn out. It's the opposite of that. It's I have absolutely no control of how it goes onto the gel plate. I have absolutely no idea how it's going to come out. I could do the same press twice and come up with two completely different things. And that's the fun of it. It's the letting go. It's the let's create something completely different and just see what happens. And I'm really enjoying that form of creating. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. I hope it wasn't too long. Once Ryan does his editing magic, I hope that it ends up being not as long as it was to make things. I could have sat here for another hour very easily and just kept creating, but I thought, you know what, that's enough. So I hope you guys did enjoy this one. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and let me know if you'd like to see more videos using the gel press. Don't forget to follow me on social media as well. You'll see a few bits and pieces with the gel plate over there as well, I'm sure. So I hope you guys have an absolutely awesome rest of your day. Don't forget to give this one a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and I will catch you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!